to imagine. I want you to imagine a crime where a man was arguing with his grandmother. The man then reaches for a gun and shoots her in between the eyes. She falls, lifeless, to the ground. The man then grabs a kitchen knife and stabs her multiple times. Hours pass. The grandfather pulls into the driveway with fresh groceries. The man then goes outside and fatally shoots him in the driveway. After questioning, the man admitted that he was just curious of what it would feel like to murder Grandma, and if Grandpa found out, he would be mad. Now imagine that this man is a boy 15 years of age, who is treated as a juvenile, sent to a psychiatric hospital, and released in 5 years. In the span of 9 years after being released, he killed 9 more people. This is a crime committed by Edmund Kemper in 1964. And before the 1990s, children under the age of 17 were too young to be held responsible for criminal behavior, thus being sent to juvenile court. Our judicial system has changed since 1964, and crimes like the Kemper case are less likely to occur. However, people still believe that minors who commit heinous acts should not be treated in criminal court, but rather juvenile court. There is a major discrepancy between these two courts. Juvenile courts have the full intent on rehabilitation and with reintegration back into society, while criminal courts focus on the punishment and the deterrence of future crimes. Juveniles apply to all that are under the age of 17 and mainly involve petty crimes, like stealing or consuming alcohol. When tried, the minors are not considered criminals, but rather juvenile delinquents committing a delinquent act, not a crime. The punishment usually results in home confinement, probation, or being sent to a correctional facility. In this modern age, minors are exposed to adult scenarios to a much greater extent compared to the mid-20th century. That being said, the judicial context of handling heinous acts should evolve with society and give the opportunity to try a minor with adult punishments. I'll be directing my analysis solely on crimes with intent, so that's not concerning with ideas of manslaughter or misdemeanors. In 1993, another gruesome crime arose within the heart of Bootle, England. A happy, young, 2-year-old boy by the name of Jamie Bulger was kidnapped, tortured, mutilated, and abandoned by 2 10-year-old boys. After being charged guilty, the boys were incarcerated until 18 and then released with new identities on parole. Who would succumb to letting these kids roam free? Who would believe that these boys have a successful life ahead of them? Who knows that these boys will not do horrible deeds again? These boys presented no morals, no conscience, no restraint, just evil intentions. Morals cannot be constructed in rehabilitation centers. The acceptance of right or wrong is inherited through birth, not through their creation and rehabilitation. Based on a random survey of delinquents from ages 10 to 18 in Chicago, 66% of them had at least one psychiatric disorder, compared to the average 26% found in adults. No evidence lies within knowing that these disorders cannot be treated or will aid in the repetition of a repugnant crime, but it does not stop the idea from sprouting in one's mind. Children are young. They have more than about 80% of their lives ahead of them. Why can't our technology and knowledge mend their young and pure minds to something better? But how can we take that risk? In most states, when minors are tried as juveniles, the state has until the age of 21 to help them through psychiatric care. But is that enough time? If the psychologist deemed the child unfit and unready to be released, the state cannot do anything but wait for another crime to unfold. Not all cases result in this, but do cases of free, convicted delinquents roaming the streets compare even close to just one repetition of a heinous crime? Another case like Jamie in the headlines? You must ask yourself, is it worth the risk? We the people must choose a side. Keep a delinquent in adult prison for life locked away from the outside, or allow them to roam society not knowing if they will repeat their childhood at any moment. Is it worth the risk? I want you to imagine. I want you to imagine the little life of Jamie Bulger. I want you to imagine him growing up and becoming a healthy boy with his life set out for him. But this time I cannot tell you what you're imagining is true. Juveniles with the intent of murder impeded me from doing so. Juvenile court is not a bad system. It was helped to keep delinquents off the street and give them the treatment they need. However, when circumstances are grave, juveniles must be noted as people. Age should not be taken into account when horrendous crimes are being committed. The judicial system is present to keep America safe.